If you're like me, you're probably wondering why the hell did Sony port their games to PC and then decide, you know what, we actually don't want to do this. Well, RespawnFirst.com and writer Sikandar Mahmood says data shows Sony made good money on Steam, then may have realized PC gamers don't need a PlayStation. PlayStation sold millions of copies of games to PC players but failed to sell them on the ecosystem. For the past few years, PC gamers were forced to act like patience was the ultimate PlayStation accessory. There was no need to grab a PS5 to play God of War, Spider Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, and The Last of Us. All you needed was a decent enough rig, a Steam account, and of course, a lot of patience. That may be exactly why Sony is planning on pulling back from PC. According to data from Alina Analytics, PlayStation Studio games made more than 1.5 billion in gross revenue on Steam. After Valve's cut, Sony made 1.2 billion, while overall PlayStation ports sold roughly 43 million copies on Steam. This is not a failed experiment. In fact, it is a reminder that PC players will buy PlayStation blockbuster IPs when Sony lets them. The biggest success for PlayStation on PC was, of course, Helldivers 2, which sold an estimated 12.7 million copies on Steam and made Sony 400 million in gross revenue. Even more telling, Alina data shows that co-op shooter sold more than twice as many copies on Steam as it did on Sony's own platform, PS5. If Sony ever needed proof that live service games need to be on PC day one, Helldivers 2 provided it with a huge neon sign. But that doesn't mean older games didn't do real business. Horizon Zero Dawn sold 4.5 million copies on Steam, God of War sold 4.2 million, Days Gone sold 3.4 million, and Spider Man Remastered sold 2.7 million, according to Alina data. They were not charity ports, they were big, premium PC releases that squeezed serious extra money out of PlayStation's back catalog. But the same data also shows a clear problem. The novelty of PlayStation is fading on PC. Alina found that God of War sold 2.5 million copies after 427 days on Steam. That's more than the 2.5 times what Ragnarok sold in the same launch aligned window. Data shows only 13% of God of War players played Ragnarok as well. Spider Man is not different. After 294 days, the game sold 1.4 million copies on Steam, more than twice as many as Spider Man 2 on Steam in the same time frame. Less than 12% Spider Man players played the sequel on Steam. That doesn't necessarily mean PlayStation is struggling on PC. Ragnarok made 45 million on Steam, while Spider Man Remastered made 32 million. Not a bad number, but money is not the only goal here. Sony wants to sell boxes, PlayStation Plus subscriptions, the controllers, and its entire ecosystem, as well as the idea that Sony's blockbuster games are a reason to own a PlayStation. Bloomberg recently reported that Sony no longer wants its biggest single-player IPs on PC, but wants to keep live service games multi-platform. Later on, President CEO Hideki Nishino suggested the same thing, a split between single-player and multiplayer games. This report lines up with the recent Alina data on PlayStation hardware. First and second party sales were dominated by catalog games, not new releases. The company sold 10 million first and second party games on PS5 and PS4 in 2026, but only 16% of the sales came from games launched this year. Everything else came from catalog. This is the shift we're seeing. Sony's older games are more than games. They're PlayStation's ecosystem asset. They keep bringing in sales, they fill PS Plus, and then they make PlayStation stores more valuable. And these IPs become more valuable to Sony if the company really is planning to launch a handheld. So Sony isn't looking at Steam as a failure, it's seeing it as a warning sign. PC players bought PlayStation games, but they didn't transition to PlayStation's ecosystem where the real money is to be made for Sony. If the best of Sony's catalog keeps arriving on Steam, waiting becomes a strategy. And for PC players, that is a major punchline. PlayStation PC ports made decent money considering Sony didn't even bother to spend money on advertising their launches, but they may have also taught Sony the one lesson PC gamers probably did not want it to learn. Once your exclusives become Steam games, your console starts looking a little less necessary. So I think that's very well explained, and I think that the whole point of, I guess, exclusive in the first place, going back to the old days, going back to like Sonic on Sega, is that you need to buy our box in order to play our games. And for me, I was a very big Xbox guy. I bought the original Xbox, and then I bought the Xbox 360. And then a game called The Last of Us started being shown off for PS3. And I was like, holy shit, I need to play that game. I'm buying a PS3. And I did. And I bought a PS4. Now I have a PS5. Granted, I do have an Xbox One and an Xbox Series S, but those were definitely sold more because I am attached to my achievements and attached to my Xbox profile that I've had for years and years and years, and not necessarily as attached to the console itself because there aren't tons of great exclusives. Though they're looking to remedy that. I'm very excited for Gears of War E-Day, but I can see why Sony was like, this worked just for money, but if we want to have a sustainable business going forward, we have to at least put our single player games primarily on PlayStation. And it worked for me too. I bought Ghost of Tsushima on my PC. I wanted to play it on my Steam Deck as well. It was awesome. I loved it. I bought Ghost of Yotei on my PlayStation 5 because, I heard that it wasn't going to come to the PC through these reports. So they at least got me there. I wonder how many others they were able to get. But let me know your thoughts on Sony's position here. Do you agree with it? Are you somebody who's like, no, this is stupid, they should just put it on PC? Not just because you're only on PC, but because of other reasons. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. We have new videos coming out all the time here on the channel. Make sure you check out the main channel, which is, of course, where you get everything, where we cover video games in the form of video essays and video game reviews. Please subscribe to Those Fake Nerds. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers. At the time of recording, we're at 110, so not that close, but, I think we can do it with your help, of course. Also, if you can't get enough of our content, check out Wicked Good Sports, our sports channel, and our podcasting channel, Better Radio. Again, thank you so much for checking this one out, and I'll see you in the next one.